Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jonathan Cobb from the World Nuclear Association, and welcome to the opening ceremony for the Net Zero Nuclear Pavilion. We have 4 distinguished guests who will be speaking today, but first I would like to thank our corporate partners who have supported Net Zero Nuclear. In particular, may I thank CNNC and GE Hitachi, our diamond sponsors, Atkins Realis, KEPCO, Nuclear Electrica, TerraPower and Westinghouse, our platinum sponsors, and Cameco, Centrus, OSGE and Urenco, our gold sponsors. But now may I introduce our first speaker today. I'd like to introduce His Excellency Mohamed Al-Hammadi, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Emirates Nuclear Energy Corporation. Your Excellency.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to welcome you all, and it's a pleasure and honor to join you today. And it's been a great day from the start this morning. We have leaders of nations who have endorsed a tripling of nuclear toward net zero, and that's a great achievement for COP28. And this makes me really, really proud having such kind of achievement in the UAE in our National Day. So we're very, very proud, and we do thank you for your support. One thing I would like also to mention here is that in the United Arab Emirates, we've managed with the international cooperation and collaboration to build 4 units in a record time and budget safely, and have 3 units today operational. So we have 3 nuclear power plants today, power the lights and the electrons on these lights you have here. So we are very proud of the great achievement we have achieved, but we never could have achieved it without the international support. So thank you all, and thanks to everybody. And looking forward for next year when we have the 4th reactor operational, that will generate around 25% of electricity for the UAE. And that's a major achievement for a nation to be able to decarbonize our electrons within a matter of a decade. And one data I'd like to share with you today, UAE, with the 4th reactor, we will have reduced our carbon footprint dramatically. And we are very proud of that achievement. And we welcome the world and the industry to come and look at UAE case study at Baraka and the UAE and how we done it. And we would love to share our experience with our partners and whomever is a newcomer to the nuclear industry. And also looking forward, as the Emirates Nuclear Energy Corporation, with the net zero, we would like to be an effective partner and a key partner internationally to develop nuclear industry globally. So we look forward for those areas of discussions and cooperations, and looking ahead for the world, a betterment of the world with the clean electrons, with the clean molecules through nuclear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, may I introduce Dr. Sama Bilbao Leon, who is Director General for World Nuclear Association. Sama.
Thank you, everybody. So, good afternoon and welcome. So, over the last couple of years, we have seen a large increase in the visibility of nuclear energy at COPs. So last year, as you know, for the first time, we have the Atoms for Climate Pavilion. That was a collaborative effort between the International Atomic Energy Agency and a number of associations from all over the world. And this was really a turning point. So I think that last year we had a nuclear house. This year we have a nuclear neighborhood. So here we are. We have the Atoms for Climate Pavilion around the corner. Now here you have the Net Zero Nuclear Pavilion. So please welcome to your home in Dubai COP28. So the entire global nuclear industry is welcome. This is your house here. Please don't be a stranger. This is where you are supposed to be. So as you know, World Nuclear Association has done an enormous effort to increase the visibility of nuclear energy at the COP meetings by bringing together governments, by bringing together the nuclear industry, of course, and civil society. So we have partnered with ENEC our home team. They, of course, they have done really a lot of the work. So thank you, ENEC. And then, of course, we have also gotten the support of the International Atomic Energy Agency Atoms for Net Zero initiative. So with all that, we did launch earlier in the year the Net Zero Nuclear Platform, and this is supposed to be a vehicle to unite all efforts from the entire global nuclear community to highlight the essential role of nuclear energy within the context of climate change. So in that context, I want to thank all our corporate sponsors. Certainly, they have made possible to have today this pavilion, so that's where you all are welcome. So thank you to all our corporate sponsors. And then I want to maybe, for those of you that were not paying attention this morning, we had a momentous occasion. So we had an historical moment. So for the first time at a COP, for sure, but actually I would say in history really, we have had 22 governments from all continents come together to express publicly their support for nuclear energy and also to bring forward a very ambitious target of at least tripling nuclear energy capacity globally by 2050. So this is an enormous achievement. And in fact, I think that for the first time ever, we have seen 8 heads of state stand up publicly in front of the media and everybody and actually commit to this very ambitious aspiration. So I think this is incredibly a success already for our efforts at COP28. So I think that, and I will echo what the Minister of Energy of Sweden said this morning, so we finally are getting politics out of energy policy and we are putting back science and pragmatism into the equation. So I will remind you that in the coming days, we are going to launch our own net zero nuclear industry pledge. So this is already been endorsed by 100 plus companies from all over the world. And this pledge very much mirrors the goals that we saw this morning in the ministerial declaration. So it also sets the goal for at least tripling nuclear capacity by 2050. But also what it does is very pragmatic and it sets up a benchmark so we can actually measure progress and keep ourselves accountable for these goals. So for those of you that are interested in following this much more closely, so we will have a preview event of this launch on December 5th at 4 p.m. upstairs in the third floor of this pavilion at the shared presentation space. And this will include the heads of national and regional nuclear associations, such as the Canadian Nuclear Association, the Nuclear Energy Institute, the Japanese Atomic Industry Forum, Nuclear Europe, and the UK Nuclear Industry Association. So please join us for this preview event, because we will also have a reception, so it will be very nice to catch up with each other afterwards. And then afterwards, at 6:30 p.m. the same day, December 5th, we will have at the COP28 presidency space, meeting room 5, we will have the actual official launch of this nuclear industry pledge. So once again, we welcome all of you to join us for that very important event. So with this, I will just maybe remind you that net zero nuclear has started at COP28, but it will continue beyond COP28. So this is just the beginning. Net zero nuclear intends to be a platform where the entire nuclear industry, and certainly we will try to include governments and civil society, can work together in the future to make sure that the essential role of nuclear energy is well recognized within the context of climate change and sustainability. So with that, thank you and welcome. Oh, I think we do this.
Indeed, what a marvellous event that was held earlier this morning, and I hope a momentous event. Now if I can move forward to our next speaker, it is Scott Strazik, CEO GE Vernova. Scott.
Thank you, everyone. Your Excellency Sama, thank you very much for the sentiments and everyone for joining this great event on such a significant day. For me, as the CEO of GE Vernova, I'm proud to represent our 80,000 colleagues here today and our support for net zero nuclear. Our equipment today powers about a third of the world's electricity. But as we were setting up the company to be a separate public company next year, we changed our name to Vernova. And the Vernova is important because it's coin-based together, Verde green, Nova new green energy. And I give that background just to say that for us, nuclear is right at the heart of what we're trying to do and where we're investing in the future, which leads to us being so passionate about this organization and where we're going to go. And that's only going to be done with both public-private partnerships together and the industry in totality holding hands and leading the world forward. As we said a moment ago, the world needs nuclear to triple, at least between now and 2050. And we certainly intend to do our part. We have been in the nuclear industry managing and nurturing an install base for 60 years. Our largest single investment today across our portfolio is our 300 megawatt small modular reactor that we will commission in Canada this decade. We need to continue to raise the dialogue on the importance of nuclear in the world in many settings in which GE Vernova is going to do its part. So we can talk about tripling between now and 2050 and think that that's a long time, but whether it be in industrial terms, whether it be in planetary terms, it's a blink of the eye. So the time is now, and GE Vernova intends to do its part humbly in supporting this transition and is motivated to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Scott. And now I'd like to introduce our final speaker for our opening ceremony, David Livingston, Senior Advisor and Managing Director of the Office of the Special Presidential Envoy on Climate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the World Nuclear Association, to ENEC, to GE Hitachi and GE Vernova, the leadership of so many of you who have played a role in this pavilion, and more broadly, because this should be an inclusive community, all those of you in any small way who have played a role in advancing nuclear as a climate solution and advancing the conversation around nuclear here at COP. I was honored to be able to join this morning when Secretary Kerry kicked off what truly was, I think the right word, the only word I can think of is historic event, in a beautiful setting on a perfect day here in Dubai, to bring together leaders from around the world. And it's not just the number that matters, it's also the diversity and the inclusivity of that group. We had East and West, we have Global North and Global South. We had 4 continents plus represented, I believe. We had multiple countries from Africa joining in a pledge to triple nuclear energy by mid-decade, or by the middle of this century. And I think that sort of moment, that this can take place at a COP, not in opposition to what's going on everywhere else, but as part of that story, where nuclear does not succeed despite the push for clean energy, despite the push on climate, despite the push on the energy transition, it benefits from that push. And it is complementary and a partner to and a force multiplier for what the world is also laudably trying to do on renewables, what's laudably trying to do on carbon management, where nuclear can fit into that story as an ally. That is a historic moment at this COP. And as Secretary Kerry noted, all you have to do is listen to the science. It's not a matter of ideology. It's not a matter of your favorite technology. It's not a matter of where you started your career or what you studied or what industry that you happen to be in. It's a matter of science. The science tells us, the UN tells us, the IEA tells us, nuclear has to be part of the solution if we are going to meet our climate goals and keep 1.5C within reach. If climate change were a less serious challenge, we might have the luxury of being technology favoritists. We might have the luxury of saying this technology, but not that one. We do not have the luxury of leaving nuclear behind in the race to address the climate crisis. And I want to also just say that I'm incredibly humbled to be able to be here as part of the US delegation. Not only was the US a key partner, along with the terrific leadership of ENEC and so many others in pushing at the political level that goal of tripling nuclear energy by 2050, but it's also critically, I think, our private sector, are American innovators, some of the most innovative nuclear companies in the world, like GE, that are going to play a role in implementing that vision and making it real. And that's, as I see it, what net zero nuclear is all about. Net zero nuclear is how we translate this morning's moment and take it out of Dubai, take it out of COP28, and make it a reality in terms of real projects, real order books, and real electrons, clean molecules and clean electrons hitting our grids and hitting our pipelines and hitting and integrating into our economy in the years and decades to come. So what's needed now is not just continued high-level goals and setting targets. What's needed now is to get to work to meet those targets and unleashing the power of innovation that we in the United States are so proud to see in some of our leading companies in this space. So thank you very much, and I look forward to the rest of what COP28 might bring on this.
Thank you very much, David, and thanks to all four of our distinguished speakers today. Just for news of future events happening both here at the Blue Zone Net Zero Nuclear Pavilion and at the Green Zone Net Zero Nuclear Pavilion, the Net Zero Nuclear Summit taking place on the 7th and 8th of December, and events elsewhere, please go to the netzeronuclear.org website where they are now all listed. But with that, may I conclude by thanking all of you for coming to the opening ceremony today, and I hope to see you here again during the coming 12 days. Thank you.